Hi, friends. This is Kristen Fagan here and Sara Oehler with Softlex Company. We are doing our Great Bead Extravaganza takeover today, and we will be on in just a moment for coffee and craft wire. If you don't have a beverage, coffee, tea, or something, now is your chance to go grab one and come back and get settled in and join us. Hey everyone that's just joining in. This is Kristen Fagan and Sara Oehler with Softlex Company, and we'll be on in just a moment for coffee and craft wire. We are planning on making some fun ornaments today and have tons of new products to share with you too.
Hey all, are you ready, Kristen?
I'm ready.
Should we hop on here together?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me switch this. Hi.
Hey, let me add my...
Oh, are we adding it in? You're a mess.
Yeah, we'll give them a little sneak peek here.
Nice.
Get started.
Nice to see you. I feel like we haven't gotten to do this, just you and me, in like a little while.
It has been a little while. I know. We've been seeing each other, but we haven't been together.
Yeah. So I'm Sara Oehler. I'm the sales and marketing manager for SoftFlexCompany.com. I've been with them for 22 years. And this lady here is...
I'm Kristen Fagan. I'm one of the graphic designers here at Softlex Company and also turned beading educator because I've been doing this now for, 3 years, I think is when I started my first video with Softlex Company over on the YouTube channel. And I've been with the company for 18 years total.
It's such a natural fit for you. I think you're such a good teacher. And you're an art maker, of course. So that transition was really good. I'm so glad to have a partner that helps make stuff.
Yeah, it's been really nice. I was a little hesitant, I think, at first, but once I got going, it's really a lot of fun and a great part of my week. And it's gives me a chance to be creative and crafty. And that's always a plus, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So if Softlex Company is new to you, we are a beading wire and craft wire manufacturer first and foremost. We sell our wire all over the world, and it's used for many different purposes. But we also are lovers of beads and jewelry making components and tools. So we sell a lot of other kinds of supplies as well. And you can check out everything we carry on our website, which is softflexcompany.com. Can we get to the most important question of the day, Kristen? Which coffee mug did you choose?
Oh, I chose our customer appreciation coffee mug.
Nice. Yes, we gave those out last summer to our presenters. And then some of you may even have that mug at home too, with everyone's faces on it. Look which one I chose.
Oh, you got the Softlex Company one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made one in-house. I don't know if I ever told all of you guys this. I made one before I made one for Customer Appreciation Week. I made one with all of my coworkers at the time. We have 2 new coworkers since then. For a couple of reasons. We had a coworker that was leaving after 16 years. And she was retiring. And so I wanted her to have something to remember all of us by. But I also had been thinking about the idea before that of just how we had to really pull together during the pandemic as a crew. And these are the people that made it happen. And most of these are the people that still make it happen. You know, you see Kristen and I on the video, but there's people in the background that are doing an immense amount of work to get everything up and ready, get all of the beads sorted and packaged, get the wire on the spools, get it in the boxes and out the door. You know, it's a big process, and we're very small, as you can see.
We're a tiny team. Yeah,
We're
we
a
are definitely
team that fits on one mug. doing all of that. So we are a small business. I think sometimes we are looked at as being this huge entity because we are a bigger business in the beading and craft niche, but we're still a pretty small business.
Yeah. And we have been for pretty much always. And so everyone wears a lot of different hats while they're busy doing what they do. And it's what makes everything go round. So yeah, we are a small company. We are a lot of women in our company, which is really pretty awesome. And, you know, it's just a nice family. I used to get to visit often, but it's been quite a long time now. Don't get to visit quite as much as I used to. But it is a family, and we do work really well together, and everyone has to like just chip in to make the wheel keep going, right? And you guys are all a big part of that. You have really helped keep us going throughout everything that's happened the last 2 years. And we really, I feel like in many ways, we're thriving with you because things have just exploded in the creative way. I think we are introducing more creative products. We're introducing more beads, and we're having so much more focus in how we show up for all of you to create your things, that things are just really good. And thank you for that.
Yeah, it's gelling for sure. So cheers first and foremost to all my wonderful coworkers that make everything happen, even at the last minute when I'm driving them nuts. Thank you. Thank you.
Sarah's always driving them nuts.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you to all of them. And cheers, coffee cheers this morning. And then I did want to mention to you, we are going to be doing Christmas ornaments this morning on the Wig Jig. We have 2 different patterns that we're going to show you. We will be using our brand new 16 gauge craft wire, which you guys asked us for earlier this year. And unfortunately, there's a little pricing snafu on the silver plated 2 colors and silver plated. So we had to pull it down this morning and hold and do a little price check on it. But I hope it will be back up this afternoon. In the meantime, you can get the 16 gauge in the copper color, which Kristen has there. And you can also do a lot of the ornaments we're doing in the 18 gauge, if you prefer. The 16 gauge is just a little sturdier because it's thicker, so it really retains that shape a little bit better. But there are options, and you can always hold out, and we'll have the silver plated silver color and gold up later. We just want to work on the price and make sure it's the right price. Oh, this is, I'm going to highlight this little comment from Brenda. She always has the nicest things to say.
She does.
Love to Brenda.
Lots of love to you, Brenda. It's always nice when you're here. And Kim is here too. She's always got wonderful things to say. 16 gauge. Yeah, I knew you'd be happy with that, Kim.
16 gauge. We got it. We're excited. We can't sell it yet, but we will.
I've been wanting us to get this for so long. Not that I've ever used it or know what to do with it. I just knew we needed it. I knew you needed it.
I mean, I'm like the ornament queen at Christmas. If I could, I don't know if I can pan around. Let me see. Let me see if I'm going to do a quick look at this. All my ornaments lined up to show you.
Look at how cute you are.
Look at all those ready to go. I'm ready to show you lots of ideas today. Okay, so I'm going to flip down and I will show my 2 ornaments. And Kristen, if you need to set anything up or get anything prepared, why don't you do that? And then you can show how to make your ornament first.
Sound
good? Okay.
Yep.
So let me figure out how I do this solo layout. And there we go. Okay, let me scooch you over here. Oh, I think you are removing things and it's making it flip-flop. Okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. So this is a wig jig, and this is one of my best friends at Christmas time. I love the wig jigs because you can make all sorts of really cool shapes with them by moving these little metal pegs around. I have this set up to make a Christmas tree, which is what I'm going to show you how to make today. I made it in 2 different colorways, and I used some of our beads that we put online recently. In this case, I used the pips, which we have in a few different colors, and made a little cute little star flower for the top, and then did some little ornaments here hanging from the base. And then I decorated it in a different way. Here, you guys may have seen my little poinsettia that I had posted around to see what you guys thought, if it should be a 5-point or a 6-point. I actually added one in the middle as well. So I'm going to show you how to make that little poinsettia. And then in this case, I just strung the pips straight on, so it looks like a garland. And I think that turned out really cute. And then brand new today in our shop, we have Christmas and winter holiday teeny tinies. And so I added this sweet little Santa, but you could totally do like a little snowman if you wanted to, would be cute. You could take one of the wreaths, the teeny tiny wreaths, and put that at the top of your tree. You could
so cute.
Adorable, right? This little penguin. How cute would he be with the snowy white pips? Adorable. Yeah, I'm really excited about making ornaments. So that's kind of the skinny on what I will be doing today. I'm going to start getting set up while Kristen shows you how to make her ornament. But stay tuned, and I will show you this Christmas tree and some of my other projects from previous years in just a little bit. All right, Kristen, are you all set? I'm going to scoot you over to you.
I'm all set. So I am going to be sharing you guys how to make some little retro shaped ornaments. And both of these ornaments, although they look a little different, were actually done with the same setup. So this is the setup I have here on my Wig Jig Olympus light is the one I'm using. I'm using all of these little pegs that come with it. So these smaller ones, there's 10 in a pack. They come with your Olympus. And then you can also purchase some extras if you need them at softflexcompany.com. And in addition, I'm using, these are called these small super pegs. Now, for the small super pegs, you get 6 different sizes, 1 of each. So this is what comes in the small super peg. And there are 2 packs on our website. There's one for the Olympus light or the Olympus, and then there's one for the Delphi. So just make sure that you're getting the right one that matches your jig. We have a Delphi jig and we have Olympus light jig available. The difference is the Olympus light has a little bit more space between the holes, a little bit larger, whereas the Delphi is a little bit more tightly compact and a little bit smaller. So you get a little bit daintier of a design on the Delphi. But anything you do on one, you can still do on the other. They just have a slight size difference. So because I'm using 2 of the same size, you would need 2 packs of this. If you don't want to purchase 2 packs, you can kind of do one side of your ornament and then take this and swap it to the other side before you get over there. I just wanted to point that out before we get going. And then I have one up here that's also from this small super peg pack. Jean is asking, do you sell the form to make your ornaments? We do not sell the form. We sell the jig and the pegs and the wire. So we're going to make our own forms today. So I've got the new craft wire in 16 gauge. This is non-tarnished copper. And I've got bare copper in the 22 gauge, but you can also use non-tarnished copper. We have both of those available. Do you want to answer that question, Sara?
Sure. Yes. Yeah, the girls didn't help me with this Christmas tree ornament, and I haven't quite done ornaments with them yet, but I think that's a really good idea for gift giving. If you've got kids that are second grader level, like I do now, I think they could probably make ornaments for gifts. Did you do that, Kristen, with your kids?
We did a lot of handmade gifts with my kids. They made a lot of jewelry for their teachers. A lot of times they had, female teachers, so they would make jewelry for them. Hudson used to make tons of jewelry for his friends because he had a lot of little girls that were his friends. And we did do ornaments too, although I don't remember if we did wire ornaments. I think we did some painted ornaments and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some ornaments could be really fun to make with kids. And thank you for bringing it up, because it really wasn't even on my radar. But I think that could be a great gift for a grandma or an auntie that's looking for a little special treat from the girls.
Sara likes making ornaments so much. It was just me time for her. She wasn't thinking about
it's all about me for sure.
She was not thinking about the kids doing it too. Good point.
Funny.
All right, so some of the tools I've got here are my nylon jaw pliers, which are really essential whenever you're working with craft wire. What they'll do is they'll smooth out your wire before you get going. And also, if you're in the process of doing something and you kind of bend it a little wonky and you want to straighten it back out, these are phenomenal. Then I have a pair of chain nose pliers and round nose pliers that I have dipped into Tool Magic. So what that is this little container right here. It creates a nylon coating on your tools and it comes off, so it's not permanent. You can just peel this away when you want to take it off. But I decided I would take an old pair of chain nose pliers and round nose pliers and dip them. And this way I can always have a pair of nylon pliers on hand when I'm working with craft wire. So when you're working with bare copper, it's not as big of an issue. But when you're working with any of the colors, like this one is the vintage bronze, or if you're working with, like a green or a red, these have a copper core, and you want to be very careful not to nick your wire. So by putting the Tool Magic on your tools, you now have given yourself like a little extra protection for when you're working with these colors here, that you don't nick and scuff up any of your precious wire. And to do this, you just dip it into the Tool Magic and then you set it overnight to set. So I just put it on this little dish just like this and let the pliers stay open and dry. And I did that last night so that they would be ready for me today. This is one dip, but you can even dip it again if you wanted to create like a little extra protection. So we're going to use those tools and a pair of flush cutters, our Olympus Light, our super pegs. And to set up my design, I actually just drew on this little piece of paper here. And that was where I got the idea of where to place my pegs. So obviously it's not following it 100%, but because I want to make sure my pegs are evenly spaced, more so than my drawing was. but it's really nice to be able to just create something, or even if you printed something out that you wanted to use, and place it behind your jig, and you can set up all of your little pegs. Okay, so I cut out about 18 inches of this 16 gauge craft wire. I think I have a little more than I need, but I didn't do a very good job measuring it when I was practicing yesterday. So this should give me more than enough. So I'm going to use my round nose pliers and create a little loop, like a little P. Just like so. And I have this little peg here in the corner as my starting peg. Well, you know what? I'm going to move this off of here too. So I've got this on top of the wire whacker, but it's a little too high up. Thanks, Kimberly. Kimberly is saying, I love the shapes of your ornaments on your bead cam, Kristen. Thank you. So this is the layout I've got for those shapes. Even though it kind of looks like a triangle, I mean a diamond, it does sort of turn into this. And these are using the same shapes. The only difference is down in this corner. For this one, I went on the inside of this peg. And for the smaller one, I just went around the outside and then pinched it. So just a slightly different. All right, so let's get my little P on my first starter peg. And then I'm going to grab my jig. And you want to move your jig around, not your wire around. So you'll see me twist my jig all the way around this first top peg. And then I'm going to come down around these pegs here. You could even go in if you wanted to. Maybe I'll go in and see what that looks like just to give it a little variation. So I'll go in that one and then back around the outside. Twisting my jig until I get back.
I noticed that the twisting the jig is really helpful with this thicker wire.
Yes, it is. We always suggest that, but with the thicker wire, it's even more so. So the only thing I did different here is I went on the inside instead of going all the way straight up, just because I wanted to see what would happen and how that would shape it. And I could keep going all the way around here. So before I take it off my jig, I'm going to use my fingers to hold the wire down. And I'm going to use my chain nose plier to kind of poke it around this peg here. And let me make sure I don't hit my camera. So I'm going to pop it up on one side, and then I'm going to pop it up on the other side, just creating a little divot at the bottom.
That's cute. I don't think I've ever done that before, to add that little bit of shape. That's very neat.
Yeah, so when I take it off, it looks like this, and I definitely had plenty of wire. You probably could have went with just 12 inches, it looks like. I'm going to move my jig out of the way. And now I'm going to decide how I want to wrap this little tidbit here. So grabbing a hold of the top with my nylon gel pliers, which is great with this thicker wire, I'm just going to go and pinch that around. And see how, I'm going to fiddle with it for a second, just see how close I want it. That's pretty cute when I get a little closer. And then I'm just going to wrap. And I like a messy wrap, so I'm not going to get too worked up about it here. Using my chain nose pliers, you can squinch that down. And get a little bit tighter.
I love a messy wrap because I feel like it makes it feel really handmade and like, I don't know, like someone's hands were touching it, like an artist's hands touched it.
Totally. Totally. Okay, great. So this is good, what I've got going here. So this one, this loop here, the one I just wrapped around, is going to be my loop I start with at the top. And this little guy here, this little, I'm going to play with and make some little kind of swirly designs with that. I do think when you're working with a thicker wire too, it's a little easier to get that messy wrap than it is to get it real tight.
For sure.
I always like things that feel organic and handmade. And I also like to give myself grace and ease when I create and not get myself too frustrated. So there's one thing, a little like mantra, I guess, that I try and remind myself is that things are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. And another one I like to remind myself is create like you, right? Because I see things, you know, that other people make in a comparison, and I, you know, get myself sometimes a little worked up. But I've learned that it's okay for me to admire someone else's work, and it may not be how I actually approach something. And so I try to remind myself to make things like me and make sense, that things that just make sense to how I create. All right, so now I'm gonna grab a hold of this end where this little P was with my chain nose plier, and I'm just gonna start to curl it. I can either leave it kind of up at the top here, or I can bring it down like I did on this one. I found if you're having a little trouble with your shape feeling like it is kind of closed enough, that bringing it down really kind of locked the shape in place. So I think for this one, I'll bring it down. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and manipulate my shape a little bit until I'm happy with it. And then I will whack it with the wire whacker. Yes, Terry is asking, I am late. Is your chain nose dipped or solid coated? It is dipped. So I took an old pair of chain nose pliers and I dipped it into Tool Magic. And you just dip it and then you let it sit kind of elevated somewhere to dry. I let it sit overnight, and now my tools are nice and coated. I did it with the chain nose and the round nose. And now I have a nice pair of nylon coated pliers. And this is removable. So after a while, if it gets kind of funky or starts to get like it's peeling a little bit, you could just rub it right off and then dip them again. So the wire whacker are these two pieces of nylon blocks, and you're just going to slam them against each other to work harden the wire underneath, and you're going to do both sides. So I just kind of take the parts that are curly and not gonna flatten out to the edge, and then you would, I'm not going to do it right now because it's really loud, but you would whack it on one side and then whack it on the other side a few times until you get your shape to be nice and stiff. And it really stiffens up this 16 gauge wire fantastically. So I'm going to work on that. Sara, do you want to switch over to you and then I'll come back with beads afterwards?
Sure. Yeah, we can switch over. I'm ready.
I'll mute myself so that I can whack my wire here.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to be making a Christmas tree shape. I've made ornaments with Softlex craft wire over the years, and I've made them in like a million different shapes. Let me show you some of those. And these are all made on Wig Jigs, usually Wig Jig Olympus Lights. So this is the size that I have used the most frequently, but there is a Delphi as well, which has smaller peg holes that are closer together. So what's nice, if you like this shape as an ornament, you can then make it on the Delphi as a jewelry component. So I'm skipping over, but let me show you what that means. So for example, I made this star ornament on the Wig Jig Olympus Light. Here is an earring that is the same shape made on the Delphi. The pegs are just smaller and they're closer together. And so it makes it easier to make little components for making jewelry. So that's kind of a nice thing too. If you want to make one of these Christmas trees as an earring component or as a pendant, you can totally do that as well. Here's a shape that is just a triangle, but this is one of the most popular trees that I have made over the years, and really simple, really easy, and fun to make on the Wig Jig. This is probably the most popular shape, and that's just taking your pegs and running the wire back and forth, and then you can do all sorts of things to add beads to that piece as well. So there's some ideas for Christmas trees. The one I'm doing this year is more of a traditional shape, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then you can decorate it in a number of ways. And I'm going to show you a couple ways to do that. So first, let's make the topper for our next Christmas tree. I'm going to use the copper color this time. I used the non-tarnished silver and the non-tarnished gold yesterday when I made these. Of course, those two colors, like I said, in the 16 gauge are having a price check. So they're not on the website yet, but they will be probably later today. But the copper is available. So I'm going to break open my 16 gauge copper for the very first time and use that. And then I'm using the 26 gauge Softlex non-tarnished copper for all of my beadwork where I'm embellishing on the tree. And I found 26 gauge is pretty good. 24 gauge may also work. 28 gauge too can probably work, but it's very thin. So you have to be just a little more careful with it. And this is lovely because it is a copper wire, but it has a coating over it that makes it non-tarnishing. So it'll stay that beautiful bright copper color. We do have bare copper too in some of our gauges that would tarnish. So if you liked patinaing something, you could do that as well. So I was thinking for this next tree, since I'm using the copper, I pulled out these sweet little curved petal beads that we added to our website. These are check glass, and you can find them on the website. I'm going to use these to make a little star at the top, and then for some decorations on the tree. A full strand of those looks like this, and they come in a bunch of different colors, so you could mix and match colors together. We have a bundle of 4 styles of beads, 4 different bundles that you can get to do the decorating of either for Kristin's ornament or for my ornament that I'm doing today. Here's all the curved petal colors that are in there. Some really fun colors. I'm thinking this olive green will be really, really pretty. I'm going to do 5 pieces. So it's kind of like a star. This is the piece we're doing here. Here's what it looks like made with pips. If you want to make it with the pips, you can do that too. And then I will show you how to do the poinsettia as well. So don't worry. So I'm going to string all 5 of these pieces. I haven't made it with these curved petals before, so you're going to have to bear with me as I check it out and see how it's gonna work. So I've got a decent length of that 26 gauge craft wire, and I am going to pull this into a circle. And so I'm just going to come around and go through my last bead twice. And then I can just pull on that to create a shape and see if I like it. So that's what the little star shape will look like in this with this style of bead. And I suppose you could face it either direction when you're attaching it to the tree. So if you wanted the points to show more, you'd face it this direction. And if you wanted them to show less and be a little softer, then you could face it this direction. And all I did with this is I just wrapped it to the top. So all I'm going to do now is trim off this wire. Did you have something you wanted to add, Kristen?
I was just going to say how cute the star is. I just love it.
It's so cute.
And it came out really cute in both the petal leaves and the pips. So either one would work.
I might even like it better in the petal leaves because that little point really is great. I feel like this color is going to look really nice on the tree too because it's a little bit of a tree color. So I'm curious to see how it'll all come together. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and we're going to work on our wig jig part now. So this is how the wire will come packaged, and it will be in a bundle like this. It's a little tricky to put 16 gauge on a spool because it is so thick. And so we've had to package it in a bag. When you pop it out, usually it's a little wrap around it. This one isn't, which is interesting, and it's not unbundling, so that's kind of cool too. But it's a nice, almost like a little slinky. Hey, Kristen, will you click mute again? Because I'm getting a little feedback. Okay, so I've got my wire out, and I'm going to do that same thing that Kristen did. I'm going to make a P loop, and I'm going to use the second biggest size on my multi-size plier. So I'm going to go over here on the top. This is almost exactly the same size as a peg, but it's so close that I found it a little hard to get my P-loop on and off of my pegs. You could totally use this one. You just may need to fidget with it a little bit. I'm going to use the bigger one since I'm doing a demonstration and I don't want to fiddle with things. I'm just gonna go for the bigger one and make it easy on myself. And I'm just wrapping a little loop like that to get started. So I've got my jig all set up. Like Kristen, I kind of thought ahead about what shape I wanted, and then I played with the pegs to get them into the shape that I was thinking of. And before I get going, what I always kind of like to do is just take my nylon jaw pliers and just start straightening out that wire a little bit, so that it's a little easier to manipulate. So I'm going to add my loop up here. I've got a peg at the very top that I'm just going to gently wrap around. And then like Kristen, I'm going to turn the jig. And then I'm going to follow my peg guidelines. And wrap around the whole thing. And here I just kind of pulled it straight across, and I didn't worry too much about where it was going to end. And each time I did come through and just kind of take that nylon jaw plier and straighten up that wire. It's really nice. The nylon jaw pliers are good, not just for straightening the wire. They kind of start the work hardening process. Because our wire is soft and flexible, malleable. It helps to get that work hardening going so that you can get the shape that you desire. And then I'm just going to kind of go through and make sure I've fully kind of solidified my shape before I pop it off of here. So here is my shape. And now I can take this top part. Let me clip off of here just so I have enough space and wire to work. I can take this top part and just pull it up if I want to. I can also just trim this and make a new loop, which is what I think I might do because I don't want it to be so big at the top. So I'm just going to come in and trim off my P-loop, which was helpful for getting started, but not necessary now. And then I can come in with my smaller size and just wrap a circle. And then I can come across with this guy to wrap it. And so to make that easier, since this is really heavy wire, I took my my chain nose plier and I came in and I just gave it a little bend so that it's going the right way as everything else. And then I can come in with my nylon jaw pliers, just like Kristen did. Get it just where I want it to start wrapping. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and do a little wrap around here. Make sure you're using cutters that can handle this gauge of wire. They're going to be really hard on those inexpensive, like $8 cutters because it is so thick. So make sure you've got a good, nice pair of cutters. And then I'm just going to push that in a little bit with my chain nose pliers. And then I've got basically my shape. I just need to do a little bit of work hardening. So I'm going to take my nylon slab, lay my piece on it. I'm going to hold this piece where it's linked up here, just off of the slab. And then I'm going to smack this down several times to work harden it. Kristen, did you show this or did you decide to do it off air? Okay, well, I'm just going to show it. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, I did it off air, so you can go for it.
For your ears, here comes the smackdown. And then flip it. You can also use a nylon tipped hammer or a rubber mallet, you know, whatever is working best for you for your work hardening. You're basically making this stiffer by really working it so that it doesn't bend out of that shape as easily as it otherwise would. If you wanted to take a little nylon hammer or the edge here, you can work harden that loop there. You know, ornaments are not like jewelry. They, although you do want them to stand the test of time, they don't get worn. And I think things that are worn have more of that possibility of being pulled apart than an ornament on a Christmas tree. Unless, of course, you've got a toddler like me. Then you really need all your ornaments up high. Okay, so let's get over to this little part here. So to add the star, I just came right below or kind of on top of that little wrap there. And I just wrapped on both ends to add my little star to my tree. And I went around it quite a few times, just kind of attaching it and making sure it was nice and secure. Like so. And then I can go ahead and trim off that extra wire in the back. And I used quite a bit of wire because I am demonstrating. I tend to go overboard when I'm demonstrating because I hate when I'm in the middle of something and I don't have enough wire. But I can understand if you want to be a little more cautious on your wire usage. And then I can go ahead and decorate. So I'm going to take another long piece of this 26 gauge. And I'll show you how to do this style decoration first. I have some of these little snowy colored pit beads, and I have some of these, so I might kind of intermix them, or I might just do the green. I'm not quite sure yet. Let me see if I can find the end of my craft wire spool here. It has disappeared. All right, well.
Lorraine is saying these little ornaments would look very nice on a door wreath. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Cute. Yes, or hanging in a window could be really cute, or hanging from your fireplace would be really cute too. They're also really cute just as an additional thing on a special package.
Oh, you're so funny because I just highlighted Barb that said, oh my, I'm going to need a jig. I'm thinking of making ornaments in place of a bow on Christmas gifts.
Yes. Yes, Barb. Perfect. I love that. So I'm just taking my nylon jaw pliers and cleaning up my wire a little bit. And then I'm going to come up here at the top, and I'm going to anchor it down at the top first behind this star. And then I can kind of wrap down to my tree side. And I was doing about 4 wraps before doing a garland. So I'm going to do that again.
Marisol is asking, is the wire dead soft? I missed it if you talked about it.
You know, it's listed on our website. I don't think it's quite dead soft. It's close, though.
I think it's considered soft, and then you can temper it to half hard.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go across. Make sure you don't lose your star shape up here. I'm going to go across, and I'm going to add a piece. And how I did that was I took my wire across, and I took my pliers wherever they went. I took my pliers. I kind of decided where I'm going to attach first, right? So I'm going to attach here. I want to go kind of in the middle. So I'm going to kind of eye out where that is. And then I'm going to grab on with my smaller side on the bottom and then just wrap a little loop like that. And then I can string on my bead. Let's do all green because I just am loving this green color. I think it's so pretty, and I think it's going to look really nice, like little Christmas tree pieces. So slide it onto your loop like so, and make sure it's sitting nicely so it can kind of, you know, droop down and dangle. And then pull over your wire and make your next wrap. And that way I can then do my next one. And if you want that to be a little closer together, you can kind of push and pull till you get it just how you want it. And then I'll go across the other direction and I will do the same thing, making 2 loops this time. So I'm going to, let me flip it over so I'm on the same side. I'm going to look at it and kind of think about where those would be. Maybe here is a good spot. So I just grab it with my plier with the small side on the bottom. And you could do this with just a round nose plier too, and make my loop. And then I add my bead. I think I want to string it this way. Trying to see how, if I string it, I want to string it so it's the same direction. I think it's this way as the other one, although it probably won't matter. And then I'll come down And in this case, I'm going to make another loop. So I'm going to find kind of the halfway point between those two over here and make a loop. And you just kind of keep going that way. You know, you just add, and you can do multiple colors. You could do little beads that look like Christmas lights. If you wanted to, that could be really cute to play with, like doing multiple colors. So it looks like a strand of lights. And then I'm just going to wrap again, and I'm going to do a third one. And while I'm doing that, Kristen, why don't you go ahead and work on your next section? Does that sound good?
That sounds great. I've been starting with my beads over here. Let me see if I have any other questions.
Okay.
Oh, Gloria is asking, what size lifting loom did you use to make your bracelet? Are you wearing a bracelet, Sara, right now?
I used a 4-peg knitting spool to make this bracelet, and I used the Mystical Softflex Trio, and I crimped pieces of wire together to make multicolored Softflex. Did I do a project?
I love that design. That was such a great project.
Yeah, I think there's a YouTube video on this that Thomas can link, probably. Yeah,
And
I love this.
Kim is asking, do you hammer before the wrapping with smaller wire?
Yes. Yeah. I
hammer
work
your
sheet first.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so cute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys back over to my table here, and I'm just starting to add in my beads. I really liked, you can do kind of straight across, which is what I did on this first one here, but I really liked when I did this little kind of draping. It also made it a little lighter of a ornament. This one got kind of heavy with all those beads on there. So I'm using some beads from our new collection. We have so many great check glass beads. So you'll see I've got those little petals in here in the turquoise color that Sara was using. So these are the petal leaf daggers. And then I've got these faceted drops in the dark blue color. I'm going to use those again. And the pips are in the copper. And then I have these 8mm fire polish. This is the clear with some copper coating on one side. We have quite a few different colors of those. So I picked up for this one, I thought I would play with these copper and pink petal leaves, little daggers. So I did that one first. I cut myself 4 to 6 inches of the 22 gauge wire. I know Sara's using a lot thinner than I am. I was afraid to go too thin, but I think you're using 26, you said, Sara, so that's kind of good to know. I'm going with the 22.
Yeah, I'm using 26, and it works pretty well.
Great.
But I think 22 or 24 is fine, too.
Yeah, so I picked up 22, so that's what I'm working with. And I am using the bare copper because that's what I have. Like Sara said, the bare copper will patina a little bit. There's no coating on top of it. So that could be something that you want to use or not want to use. And then we also have it in non-tarnished copper. So if you didn't want it to patina and you wanted it to stay this bright copper color, you would want to pick up the non-tarnished copper. So I'm just going to add on these little faceted drops. And then I think I'll do a few of these pips in between. I think these pips are so cute. So Kim is saying she does hammer for texture quite often. 16 gauge takes it well. That's the excitement that you have. 16 gauge wires. So for this one, I had just did one little pip in between, but I was using a little less space. than I'm going to use here. So I think I'll do a couple of pips in the middle. And make it kind of like a little, I'll try 3. Yeah, they all turned out really cute, didn't they? And they're funny because I used the exact same frame for all 3 of these, but I just kind of changed. This one was all the way around on the outside. This one I tucked in the beginning like I showed you, and then went around the outside. And then this one I went around the outside, but then I tucked it in down here. So using that same frame setup, I was able to create 3 different variations on the ornament style. Then you can decide if you like one of them in particular the most, you can just keep going with just that one. Having it set up on the jig, you can keep replicating it really well. I, of course, tend to get like, I'm always changing things. I have a really hard time doing something the same over and over and over again. Can you relate to that? I always feel like, oh, let's just change it slightly each time.
I have such a hard time doing the same thing again and again. So being able to change it or adapt it is so important. That looks so cute.
So cute, right? So I wrapped around each time. I did 5 wraps on this one, and I did pay attention to the fact that my wraps are going from where I strung the wire down. So there's 5 wraps down, then I strung the beads, and then I put the wire over and did 5 wraps down again. So here I did the same thing. See how the 5 wraps are below my strand, and then I strung the beads, and now I'm going to come over to this side, and you just sort of create your shape, figure out where you want it to go, and that's how you can decide if you need more or less beads. So find where I'm going to wrap it here on this side, and then I'll go around the form, and I'm going to come underneath the beads, pull it through, and then I just wrap it tightly, and then I kind of cinch it up with my chain pliers after. So I'm just going to wrap it around 5 times. So I've got the same number on each time. And then when I'm done wrapping, I'll just take my chain nose pliers and squish them together. So they're nice and tight there. And then I'm going to trim it on the back with my flush cutters with the flat side going up towards my coil. Trim that off. And then you're going to want to take your chain nose pliers again and tuck in that little piece that you just trimmed so that it's not sticking out. And sometimes you'll want to I sometimes tuck in from the back and then get closer and closer and closer so that I can really make sure that it's not sticking out. And there's my second row of beads, and then I'll do one more.
That's awesome, Kristen. It's looking so good. I want to show them. I haven't tried this, but I want to make something using the square Sofix craft wire.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're going to show them.
Kind of catch the light. So I'm going to flip over to my camera, and why don't you work on anything else you want to add to your ornament?
I'm going to grab a pair of earrings I made with a square too, because I love them. And so I'll show them after you show something.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's finish this guy up first. I guess I'm so excited to keep going. I'm like, ooh, I can do this too. So here's how it looks with all of its little all its little beads added. And then all I need is my little hook at the top. So I can take that same craft wire that I was using before. And let me find an end here. And let me straighten this out. This is where nylon jaw pliers are essential, especially with the thicker gauge wire. So you can just straighten that guy out. And then I'm going to take, right off of the wire spool, I'm going to take my pliers and make my first loop. And then I'm just going to come in right next to that with my biggest sized loop to create a nice hook shape. Now you can definitely decorate this as well. You can add a bead or make it extra special. Put your own spin on it. And you will also want to work harden this too. So you would put it on that same wire whacker and whack it down. And then when it's work hardened, you just open it up like you would an ear wire. Maybe a little bit more. And then slide your cute little ornament onto it. And there we go. Isn't that so cute? I like how it turned out with the copper and the green. So I'm going to make another tree. I'm not going to do this exact same shape. I think I'm going to do the more modern, just plain triangle with the square craft wire. What I like about the square craft wire is it has edges and sides. And so you can even kind of see it in the back. It catches the light. And my guess is that when it's on a Christmas tree, it probably really stands out and looks really nice. So I'm going to grab some of this. This only comes in 18 gauge. Well, it might come in a different gauge, but the thickest it comes in is 18 gauge. And it comes in a 4-yard bag. And I'm going to find my end. And then kind of like I do with my round, I'm just going to kind of straighten that guy out a little bit. My poor nylon jaw pliers need new nylon heads. I've used them so much over this last year, especially. Okay, so we're going to start at the top like we did before by making a little loop. I'm just going to cut a big piece. Since I'm on camera, it's a little hard to, I usually work right off the spool. That way I waste less wire, but it's a little tricky when you're trying to stay in focus here. All right. Again, I'm going to go to the second biggest size on my pliers and make a loop. I think you can even twist this so you get like a swirly shape. I haven't tried that yet, but I bet you can twist it and then it'll look really neat. But let's stick with what I had intentionally planned here. I'm going to add my P-loop to the top, and then I'm just going to make my straight across tree shape. Make sure you don't lose your pegs. And you could even do like Kristen did, come in and make these corners a little more solid. Oh, maybe not that solid. You can probably also do that by just really pulling on it as you're making the shape. I'm going to pinch those in ever so slightly. And then
Angela is asking, are the coated wire ones safe for ear wires? They are. They are hypoallergenic because of the coating, but there is just a slight little connection with the copper where you snip off your wire. But other than that, the rest of the ear wire is totally hyperallergenic.
Yeah, I have an aunt with metal allergies, and she's always happy when I make her stuff with wire because it doesn't bother her like a lot of other things normally would. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to snip off my
Yeah, my
Right.
sister's the same way. I've changed her ear wires too. But yeah, the only one that is not hypoallergenic is the bare copper because there is no coating on it. So all of the non-tarnished ones are everything. I think the bare copper is the only one we sell that doesn't have a coating on it.
And you always want to kind of look at this part carefully so you end up getting, you know, generally your triangle shape. And then I'll just do my wrap. So if you like this shape better, you could definitely do this shape rather than having the tree trunk too. It's a little bit easier, a little bit faster. If you're making a bunch of them, that might be a good way to go. I'm just going to make my top a little messier here. And I can trim. And I've got my nice little shape for my tree. And you'll want to work harden this as well. And let's make a poinsettia for it, since that has been something everyone's been kind of interested in making. And it's a little bit different than the star. So I'm going to grab out a piece of our silver colored craft wire in the 26 gauge and a decent sized piece again. All right, so for the poinsettia, I am using the red drops that you can find on our website. We have the drops in 4 colors. I think these would also make really cute Christmas lights. If you wanted to string them onto the tree as Christmas lights, I think that could be really adorable. I haven't tried that yet. I've been kind of focused on just making these, these poinsettias. And I need 7 beads because I did 6 points and then I liked adding one in the middle. So I'm going to do that again. Hopefully I can remember how to do it because I did 16 different variations of this one poinsettia. The other thing I used on the end is I actually used 1x1 millimeter sterling silver crimp tubes because I have a billion of them. I understand if you don't want to use 1x1 crimp tubes, you can use a seed bead. And in fact, I got a lot of, not a lot, I got a few suggestions when I posted a picture of this to add little yellow seed beads to the center. And I think that could be adorable too. So definitely some different things that you can play around with. So I'm going to string my first bead and then let me get a little crimp tube. I just have a million of these 1x1 crimp tubes. I'm not sure how I ended up with so many. Some, you know, I got some batch of them at some point and I just have a lot. I'm going to leave a decent size amount of wire because this is probably the wire that I use at the end to add that last bead. So leave enough wire that you can comfortably do that and string it back through. So I strung my drop bead, my 1x1, and then I'm going to pull back through my bead to connect. And then this piece, I'm just going to kind of keep off to the side and I'm going to work on the longer piece. So again, I'm going to string another one of these drops in a crimp tube. And then I just bent for the center and then I just go right back in again. Any questions on this? Are you guys seeing it okay? And then I just keep going. I'm just going to keep adding my petals. I'm using a 26 gauge soft flex craft wire. to make the poinsettia. Could you use the thin Econoflex to string beads? Yes, you can use it to string beads, but it is it's not as wearable as our regular Softflex. It's more likely to break sooner than regular Softflex. And so usually we say Econoflex, not the Pro Econoflex, but regular Econoflex, which is 7-strand, is better for craft projects. Like if you were doing a Christmas garland, beaded garland for your fireplace mantle or for your Christmas tree, Econoflex would be a great fit for that. And in fact, I keep meaning to grab a big spool of it and make one of those garlands to show you guys what that looks like.
Oh, that would be really fun with some of the teeny tinies that we have, the new ones that we just got as like a little addition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, adorable. Those are so affordable too.
Lorraine is asking, what gauge would you use for ear wires? I would typically use 20 gauge for ear wires. And I know some people use 18, but I always tell the story how I can get 18 gauge in one of my ears, but not the other. Because I must have gotten, my ears got pierced. Maybe one side just like closed up more than the other.
Oh, Kristen.
So I tend to use 20 gauge so that I know for sure it'll fit everybody, but I do know that there are people that enjoy using 18 gauge as well.
I often use 18 gauge just because they hold the shape really well, but 20 gauge has worked well for me as well. So I need one more on my outside. I'm doing 6 around the outside of my poinsettia. And then I'm going to do 1 in the center. So while we're doing this, I just wanted to make sure you guys know we're taking over the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group today. If you're watching us on the Softflex Company Facebook page and you didn't realize, we've got 4 giveaways happening in the group today. We've got an exclusive coupon that is only for the group. You can only find it in the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. It will be posting if it hasn't posted already.
It has posted already, yes. So the coupon is already posted.
All right. So you want to, trying to remember, I think I went up the top here. So, so you want to make sure you are a part of that group and have joined it. It is a Facebook group. Search for the Great Bead Extravaganza and join, and then you'll be able to see all of our takeover. I will be back again at 3 p.m. Pacific time, this time with a fall design. I'll be showing you some of the things I made for Halloween this year and in previous years, and then some of the things I've made for fall as well. And then I will be making something with a fall feeling in the afternoon today. So
we also have a fun tour video that will get posted in the group today. We have I think we're posting something every hour. So you really want to get over there in the Great Bead Extravaganza group. And I want to say that I know this because I have a whole list of things I'm posting today.
Thank you, Kristen.
So we are busy, busy, busy. It's always a lot of fun to get the opportunity to do something different. And that's what today is with the takeover, right? Just to kind of show up in a different way.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day at the Great Bead Extravaganza. You may also check out our Instagram and our TikTok and the Great Bead Extravaganza on Instagram, because I am going to try to fit in a few tutorials over there as well. So you'll be able to catch some things with us on in those spaces too. Okay, so I took my last wire, I ran it up the top of the bead, so it's just coming out of the top. That's how I will attach it to my Christmas tree. And then I have this little piece here that was my very first part of my wire. I put a little bend in it So it goes to kind of the center of my space here. And then I'm going to string my last bead onto there. And I felt like because poinsettias have so many petals that overlap, I felt like it made sense to have kind of a 3D bead in the center. And so that's what I decided to do. Like I said, some people had suggested some little yellow seed beads in the center, which I think could also work really well. But this was the direction that I decided to take it. And I did the same thing. I strung that little crimp tube, and then you got to feed that wire back into the bead. Hopefully it will be help me out and work here. There we go. And then I just took it across over to the other side and I just secured it. So I'm just going to go around this wire on the other side. No big deal. You don't need to spend a lot of time on it. The thing about Christmas ornaments that's quite lovely is that as long as everything's secure, nobody looks at them super close for fine details.
So I noticed you use the one by one crimps on the side, but you don't actually crimp them, right? So are you just using them as like a little bead?
A stopper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So you could totally just use a seed bead.
Yeah.
It's just what I happen to have handy, which might be different than what you have handy. And then I just kind of pushed those little guys together so that they're all sort of poking out like a poinsettia would be.
So cute.
Thank you.
Such cute earrings. That would make such cute little earrings.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, I've already been thinking about that with my little wire loop at the top. You could definitely turn these things into jewelry components as well. And then I just am going to wrap that right at the top of my tree. And it just kind of fits there real nicely in the tree form.
And that's the tree you use the square wire for, correct?
Yeah.
18 gauge square wire.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then instead of doing a garland on this one, I think I'll add this cute little snowman guy at the bottom. So this is one of our new teeny tinies. These went into the shop today. Let me show you what we have. We've got snowmen that have a hole drilled through horizontal. We also have snowmen that are vertical, and that's what I'm going to use for this project.
So we're calling that the top drilled snowman, the one that goes up and down vertical. Yeah. And the side drilled is what we're calling the other one.
Okay, great. We've got some Christmas trees in both the darker color and the snowy color. We've got some snowman heads and Santa heads and these adorable wreaths, which I still want to wrap on top of one of these trees as well. Some cute little penguins, which could also look very cute on this one with the poinsettia. A big wreath. If you wanted to do a big wreath on one of these ornaments, that could be really cute. I like that a lot. It's more of a pendant size if you're using it for jewelry. A beautiful blue angel, and trying to see, oh, there's her hole through the top. And is it a puffin?
Yeah, that one's the bigger one's a puffin. Yeah.
Puffin. I was like, is it a holiday theme item? I don't know. I thought it was a penguin when I bought it, but apparently I was wrong. And then a snowman that's larger as well. So if you wanted to do, the larger snowman.
I like the larger snowman. Yeah.
And then also one of my favorite pieces that went in the shop today is this beautiful snowflake pendant. And
such a pretty glaze on that. They are ceramic. These are all ceramic.
These are all ceramic. They're all made in Peru. And you can read about how they're made on our website in the descriptions of the products. Oh, I wonder if I can get him to attach because he's
because he's got the top drilled might be easier.
I'm sure I can figure it out. I always do somehow.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I want to be careful because he's heavy too, so he's going to want to fall. That might be for another day.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get him to hang in there. Let's try it, and if he doesn't work, I can always use the smaller snowman. So I'm just going to wrap right
Such a
around the
cute idea. Robin Wilkie said, "Oh, a snowman family of teeny tinies." So cute.
Cute.
That's such a great idea.
So cute. You're killing me. Yeah, I could do one big one on one side and one little one on the other side. Oh, it's so cute.
I made Hudson a bracelet with the teeny tiny violins. My son is a violin player. And he wears it. He wears it all the time. I actually had to fix it. Yeah. Yeah, so that was really nice. I don't think we have that one anymore, but we do have a couple of teeny tinies on closeout that are more random. And then we have all of the new winter holiday teeny tinies.
Yeah, I don't know if I maybe did a dab of glue, if he would stay in place just a little better.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to mess with that to make it work. But this is basically how it would end up looking.
Very cute.
So cute with the poinsettia and then the sweet little snowman on there, but he's like a little, I would want him to be just a little more secure than that. So I'm going to think on that. Ooh, you know what I could do is maybe a garland too.
That would be a good idea. I was even thinking, oh yeah, if you did beads around the edge of the tree, then maybe that, kind of
secure him
and clean up the wire a little bit. Yeah. But he's really cute.
Super cute.
Let's see. Beads on each side of the snowman and wrap on the sides, says Sherry.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Robin says maybe wrap around his belly.
You could do that, yeah, instead of just focusing on the hole. That's true.
Barb says if there's a will, there's a way.
So true. Someone by my own, you're with my own heart, Barb.
Oh my gosh. It's so cute. Well, I'm going to show you what I've got on my table here for a minute, just because I wanted to share the craft wire. So here I finished the ornament and added some of those cream colored fire polish we just added to our website. I think Sara mentioned if you buy the bundle, so if you like one of the shapes, like say you like these little leaf shapes, if you buy the bundle, you're going to get 30% off by getting all the colors together. But you can also just buy one strand. So check out our beads and then check glass section, and you'll be able to see the two different options there. And then I added a little drop on this one because I had one bead left of these blue faceted drops. And so I thought,
that looks so good.
Right? Doesn't that add just like a little something to it? Super cute.
Yeah, don't be scared to use colors that are not traditionally Christmas too. I mean, look at all the different colors Kristen's used here that are not traditional to Christmas, but look so good.
And I was thinking a little bit, we've got our retro Christmas kit going on. And if you think about retro or mid-century modern ornaments, I have a bunch of them. They use a lot of this tealy turquoise color and the hot pinks in there. So that was sort of my muse a little bit when I was working on those. But I wanted to show you these. These are a design I did, and I did it with the regular round, which is this one here in the vintage bronze, and then the square. And look at how I feel like this design just totally showcases how sparkly the square is. And I even used the square to create the little drop dangle on the bottom. So even that is picking up a lot of light when you go across it. So this square wire, super pretty. I don't use it enough, but I think it's gorgeous. And I want you all to get some and play with it, because even though it still looks great in the round, there's this one's just super special. And I love wearing these because I have dark hair and it just sort of picks up all the little flickers of light when I have them on. I don't remember what metal colors we have in the square. I think it's silver.
Gold, I think.
Gold and maybe copper. I'm trying to remember if we have the copper, but definitely silver and gold. Great for wine glass markers too. Yeah, totally. That's a good idea. Should we go?
Okay, what do you think? Are we ready for?
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Should we go to the 4-pack?
Well, thanks, guys. This was so fun. Kristen, we need to do this more often.
I know. We say that every time.
It's nice. It's nice when we can just sit and be together.
It is nice. It's nice to kind of riff off one another and see what each other's doing. And in both cases, you were like, I'm going to go grab this. We're going to go grab that. And I think we wouldn't be able to do that when we do a video by ourselves, because you can't kind of step away as easily. When you're doing it together, we can kind of, oh, you know what? While you're doing that, I'll go work on this and bring that back. So pretty cool. Yeah. What kind of coffee are you drinking today?
I am drinking Ethiopian coffee. My husband has never drank coffee till I think he started in grad school. He got a degree a few years ago at Berkeley, and it was a lot of work. And he started drinking coffee then, and he has slowly become a coffee drinker since then. And this year he just went full force. So he bought a bunch of different kinds of coffee because he wanted to try all the different kinds and flavors, what his favorite is. And this one is the Ethiopian coffee, which is supposed to be one of the best coffees that there is.
I don't think I've tried Ethiopian. I have Hawaiian coffee with me today. And I made myself some homemade pumpkin spice. I added pumpkin puree. And my friend Len at IamLensKitchen.com makes all of her own spices. So I have a pumpkin cardamom spice from her. So I use that with some pumpkin puree and then like a French vanilla creamer. And I foamed it up, which it's not foamy anymore, but I foamed it up. And because I love pumpkin spice lattes, but they give me a headache sometimes when I get them out at, someone who would, one of those big coffee houses. I tend to get a headache. So I made my own.
Nice. Yeah, I made my own today too. Hey, I see someone mentioning Hawaiian coffee. Hawaiian coffee is very good too. So very tasty. Hey, thanks for joining us today, guys, for Coffee and Craft Wire. If you enjoyed this video, will you click like and love and let us know? Because maybe I can talk Kristen into doing it more often if she sees you really love it.
Oh no. Do I see a Friday video in our future?
Once a month, something would be so nice.
A seasonal video might be nice, something like that, where we, like today we focused on ornaments, but every season has their little thing. That would be really fun to play with. And neither of us get a chance to work with our craft wire as often. So this was kind of special to do that too, at least once a month, Marian.
I mean, I could make Christmas ornaments all year long. And what's funny is when we look at our Pinterest insights, that's what people are looking at in January and February and March. It doesn't matter what time of year. Christmas ornaments on Pinterest are always popular. So I could do this once a month, 12 months a year, Kristen.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fun thing. How can I say no? So I think we'll figure something out, right? It would be nice to get together more often and do something based on the season. I think that would be really great.
Okay, so reminders, 4 giveaways in the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. Go there to find out the details. 1 special coupon only for people that are members in the group. 1 more video at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We also have a gallery tour that was pre-recorded that is going to show you some special things that will go into the next live sale on November, I want to say 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th?
Something like that. It'll be in the video. Don't quote me now. And it's going to be a big day. So make sure you're part of the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. Turn on your notifications because we're doing takeover today. But next Friday, we have the Great Bead Trade, which is 8 designers opening 8 kits in designing with them over the course.
That's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be really cool. Kate Richburg, Abby from the Bead Place, Nile, Jamie Yoshida, Christy Friesen, myself, and Kay. I think I got everybody. We'll all be doing the Great Bead Trade next Friday. That will also be going into the Great Bead Extravaganza group. So you want to be there and have your notifications on to see all of it. And then the following Friday after that is our preview night for the real big deal, the real Great Bead Extravaganza. And so we will have a preview of everything the 14 presenters will be making over the weekend. And then we launch into the Great Bead Extravaganza, which is the 12th and 13th of November. And that's an all-day event, 2 days, 7 classes each day.
Right. And I would say
tutorials. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. And we laugh because even we end up watching all of them because it's just too much fun not to. It's like going to a trade show, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home and you get to have a little taste of all of these different wonderful presenters, and they're sharing great products and demos and sales. I mean, it's just a fantastic weekend. One thing to note with that, if you are checking in on the group, and I do see someone said they weren't getting a notification, Facebook is funny sometimes. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. But if you're ever stuck, go to the announcement section in the group. That is where, especially during the weekend of the Great Bead Extravaganza, every time someone new goes on, we pin it into the announcements so that you can find that video. So if you're ever lost or you're not able to find someone and they're supposed to be starting, check the announcements, refresh if you're in there, and because sometimes you might show up at the announcements a minute before they go live. So refresh your browser and just give it a second for people to kind of get settled. But that's where you would go, is into the announcements within the Great Bead Extravaganza group to find out what's happening, and everything gets pinned in there.
And I think Kate Richburg did a quick tutorial on how to turn your notifications on, and that happens to be in the Great Bead Extravaganza group announcements. So scroll down the announcements and look at all of them and look for Kate, and she'll show you how to turn them on if you're having difficulties. She did something to help with that. So we're at 90, I think we're at like 9,500 members in the group. So my last ask of you today is if you can think of anyone that you think would love the Great Bead Extravaganza, the Great Bead Trade next week, the huge 14-hour workshop that's coming up, invite them to the group. Let them know what's going on. Even if they don't bead, we'll teach them how to bead. If they're creative, they like to make. If they're creative,
right.
If they're a maker, if they want to make Christmas presents, add them to the group, and I know they'll thank you for it, because there's just so much creativity and so many amazing things going on in that group. Anybody that loves to make things will love it. Anything else, Kristen?
Oh my gosh.
Are they all laughing at me?
Yeah, I think so.
It's true. They'll thank you. It's the best Christmas present you can give this year. Add them
And
to
it's
the
such
group.
a wide variety between stringing and wire work and metal work and knotting. And I mean, there are a very wide range of things that get shown and techniques taught. So yeah, so it's for anyone who's creative or interested in making things or just ready to have a handmade holiday. I mean, I know I love doing a handmade holiday, and that's just one of my favorite things to do is to make stuff for people. So with the holidays coming up, if you have crafty friends that you want to introduce to the wonderful world of beading and jewelry making, yeah, get them over in the group. And you can even do like your own little gathering with them. Even if you do it virtually, you can kind of check in with them throughout the day and involve your friends in being part of the Great Bead Extravaganza.
Yeah, you guys, Heather Powers set up a workshop weekend around the Great Bead Extravaganza, and they're watching it on a big screen. I think there's like 12 of them, and they'll be doing projects together in person while watching us all virtually. And she was like, thanks for, giving me all my content for the for the workshop. But it's great. Like it's supposed to be a community feeling that we're building, whether you're in person with a friend or a sister doing it, or you're doing it with them online. Like the idea is that we can come together. And if you can't be there for the live shows, don't worry about it. They will be pinned in the announcements for weeks, and you can go back and replay any of them. Or if you can only watch half of it, but you want to watch the second half, it will be pinned in the announcements long term until we have another Great Bead Extravaganza. So
we basically keep them there until we're ready to be preparing for the next one. So you can always check them out later.
Yep, for sure. It's nice to be there live because there are things like giveaways and, just special things that happen when you're live. But the content itself, it's all there. And in fact, you can even go watch previous presentations from our previous Great Bead Extravaganza by looking for topic tag presentations in the group, and they'll all pop up and you can see what we've done. This will be our 5th Great Bead Extravaganza. So
and it's our 1 year. In 1 year, basically, because it's our 1 year anniversary, isn't it, from when we started the first one?
Somebody get a calculator out. But if that is like 14 hours of content 5 times, imagine how many hours of crafting goodiness is available in that group. It's amazing.
For those of you that are our YouTube friends too, there is a Great Bead Extravaganza. It's called the Great Bead Extravaganza YouTube channel, and you can go subscribe to us over there. Not all the presenters are there, which is why the group is important on Facebook. But if you are a subscriber to YouTube and you want to subscribe to us over there, you can also check out videos in that channel. You can save them to a playlist, things you want to watch again later. And there's even ongoing content that shows up on that YouTube channel as well.
Hey, Lorena, thanks for being here. Make sure you join our Softflex BIB studio group. The name of it's down in the corner. That's where you can find Softflex all the time, not just during Great Bead Extravaganza. Marianne, we had November when we started last year. We did Fall Fest last year. We did a Tucson show. We did Spring Fling. We did Midsummer Market, and now we're back to Fall Fest. It's our 1 year anniversary. So this is our 5th Great Bead Extravaganza. It's like really hard to even imagine. When we started, we thought it was a one-time thing, and it's grown into such a beautiful long-term collaboration between these companies, and they're all really fantastic companies that are part of the group. Okay.
Yes, Cindy is asking, are there directions for Kristin's silver earrings? There are. Mm-hmm. It is a YouTube video. I don't think you'll find it on Facebook. I think it was pre me being over there. But you can find it on the Softflex Company YouTube channel. I think I just called them spiral earrings. If you want to use the search bar on the Softflex Company YouTube channel, they should show up for you. There is a playlist called Free Spirit Beading with Kristen Fagan, and that has all of my videos on there. There's like 150, I think, at this point. So that's another way you can take a look and search, but I think the search bar will probably get you there quicker.
One last thing before we go, there is a playlist of Christmas ornaments. So if you liked some of the ornaments that I showed today, I didn't even show all of them. You know, if you like to make a little snowman or you like to make a beaded icicle, you can find that on the Softflex YouTube channel. It's right on the front page. There, look for holiday ornaments and crafts or something along those lines, and you'll see it. So lots of ornament projects. We'll post some more later today as well into the Great Bead Extravaganza group.
So I think we're posting like on the hour. Yeah, I think I'm posting like on the hour. So basically at noon, you'll see a post, around 1, around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no.
Forever. Into the evening.
I think we started at 6 a.m. this morning. So I think it's about 12 hours of posts.
Allegory Gallery literally did every hour for 24 hours. So
I know. Kind of like
slackers.
Yeah.
It was like, boy, they set that bar high. Ooh-wee.
So fun. I don't even know, like, I don't even know what I would talk about that many times.
Yeah.
I'd just be back and be like, hi.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you for being here with us today. You can find everything we used at softflexcompany.com. I'm getting my alarm is going off to go pick up someone from school.
That's good that you said. I'm terrible at that. I was late yesterday. I'm always late. Like my kids are in their teens now, and I'm always late to pick them up from school. It's awful.
Yeah. Well, my kids go to school at home, but we have a friend that we pick up on Fridays, and so we walk over and pick her up for her mom. All right. Well, thank you for being here today. I will be back at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern with some fall ideas. And I will see you then.
See you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.